Yeah, hi everyone. First of all, I want to thank Stephanie and Janet and the other organizers. This is a great initiative you're doing today, and it's going to be the first of many, and they're just going to get bigger from here. I could talk for a long time about this issue. I've written a lot on it. I've studied it for the last 4 years. It was pretty obvious from the beginning that it was a regime change operation. It was pretty obvious that there was massive disinformation and propaganda. But I can't talk. Stephanie asked me to keep it to about 4 minutes, so maybe she can tap me on the shoulder when I reach the limit. If anybody is interested to know more, I've got some flyers here, some yellow flyers, which has contact information about the organization I work with. It's called Syria Solidarity Movement. It's an international network. I was in Beirut. I was in Borj al-Barajneh, which is exactly where the terrorist attack took place. I was there about 3 days before it happened. Borj al-Barajneh is primarily a Palestinian camp. It's about 1 square kilometer. They have 20,000 Syrian refugees, mostly from Yarmouk, in Damascus, who are now living in Borj al-Barajneh. The population in that 1 square kilometer is 45,000. It's an amazing community. There's a lot of solidarity. The Palestinian Syrians want to go home. They were driven out of Yarmouk by terrorist infiltration and by the war coming to their area that they never wanted. I spent 5 days in Syria. I was there for 8 or 9 days in 2014. The first thing I'd like to say is it is totally different than you get in the media here. You can walk around, and I have a good Syrian friend who does instant translation for me. If it matters, he is not a Ba'ath Party supporter, but I talked with a lot of people, and you can read the sincerity in people's eyes when you talk to them. They massively support Bashar al-Assad, who they say is the unifier which is keeping the country from falling apart. The people there today. There is a optimistic mood. It's not clear, I mean, unless you're following the situation closely there, which I am, you may not be aware that ISIS and Nusra are in retreat. They're being beaten now around Homs, they're being beaten in the south, and they're most importantly being beaten up near the Turkish border. And Nusra and ISIS are in danger, there's a potential of them collapsing. And that may be why they're deflecting attention and lashing out internationally with the downing of the commercial jet, with the attack in Beirut and the attacks in Paris. ISIS has a pattern of doing that, drawing attention when the news isn't all that great. The Syrian people are a pretty amazing people. They have withstood an attack from the wealthiest countries in the world, the colonial powers, France, UK, Belgium, Denmark, Canada, Australia, United States. The whole Gulf monarchy apparatus has united. They've spent billions and billions of dollars a year funding terrorists from around the world. Hundreds of Americans have gone to Syria and killed Syrians. Hundreds of Canadians, 5 from my parents' hometown, Calgary, Alberta, went to Syria and died there. One of them was a suicide bomber who killed 32 people. It's unbelievable. Saudi-funded mosques throughout the world have played a huge role in creating a hateful ideology, Wahhabism, which has nothing to do with true Islam. And that has been, you have tens of thousands. You have a whole armada from China, the Uyghurs. They were the spearhead in Idlib, in the so-called Army of Conquest, which was actively supported by the Turkish government. It's a pretty amazing struggle, and it's amazing that Syria has resisted. And if you want to see a little snapshot on mainstream media, for once, we got that. Frontline has done a lot of crappy reports on Syria where they talk to fake Syrians. These are people who were born in Syria and left there at age 3 or 4 or 5, and they purport to be Syrians. Well, 2.5 weeks ago, Frontline did a report, Inside Assad Syria. I'd suggest you look at that online because it gives a more accurate reflection, and to their credit, they actually, they didn't edit out the people who said Bashar al-Assad's our leader, the woman who said my son was killed fighting the terrorists and I'm proud of him, and if my other sons are killed also, I'll be proud of them. So it's an amazing struggle. I think the demands of today's action are right on. We need to stop U.S. intervention. Whatever shortcomings exist in Syria, that's for the Syrian people to decide. We need to stop our own government from dominating, ruling, funding terrorists. We need to demand our government to start following international law. Hillary Clinton is a warmonger who needs to be exposed. And that needs to be very dramatic. And Bernie Sanders needs to be kicked in the butt and told to get a foreign policy that challenges the U.S. empire. Otherwise, he's not going to win, and otherwise it wouldn't be any good if he did win. So that's my message. So I think today's action is a great start. We need to keep it up and ramp from here. So thanks, everybody.